Yeah, hello. Welcome to Child Right at Education Series with Olakunle Soni. This is the series two. The series one, we're able to look at sections 1 to 5 of the Child Right Act. So we're going to start with section 6. Section 6 says freedom of association and peaceful assembly. Every child has a right to freedom of association and peaceful assembly in conformity with the law and in accordance with the necessary guidance and directions of his or her parents, of his parents or guardians. This means that every child has a right to associate. Every child has a right to a peaceful, mark the word, peaceful assembly. So every child have the right to join an association, have the right to join a club, have the right to join a group, to be part of a group. But this section says that it must be with the necessary guidance and directions of his parent or guidance. So, and this peaceful assembly must be in conformity with the law, as it was aligned with the laws of the land, such as a club or association that has to do with development of the society. It's not an association that has to do with destruction of the society. So, even though a child has the freedom to associate, but it must be with the necessary guidance of his parents or the guidance. And this association must also be a legal one, the one that's been allowed, permitted by the law. Moving on, section 7 says freedom of thought, conscience, and religion. Under section 7, subsection 1 of section 7 says every child has a right to freedom of thought, conscience, and religion. Going further, subsection 2 says parents and, where applicable, legal guardians shall provide guidance and direction to in the exercise of these rights, having regard to the evolving capacities and best interests of the child. So, those continuing with that, now looking at the subsection 3, now say the duty of parents and, where applicable, legal guidance to provide guidance and direction in the enjoyment of the right in subsection 1 of this section by their child or ward shall be respected by all persons, bodies, and institutions and authorities. Subsection 4 says, whenever the fostering, custody, guardianship, or adoption of a child is an issue, the right of a child to be brought up in and to practice his religion shall be a paramount consideration. So, this section 7 is trying to say that a child has a right to, to freedom of thought, to freedom of conscience, and to freedom to choose religion. And so the subsection 1 says that the child has a right to freedom to all this. And the subsections 2 went further to say that this where these rights are applicable, that the parent must uh, be available to provide guidance and direction to the child, for the child to exercise these rights, for the child to be able to exercise these rights and in the best interest of the child. That means a child may be allowed to choose a religion, but it must align with the best interest of the child, and it must also align with the capacities of that child. And then subsection 3 is also saying that to the duty of parents and the other legal guidance in this freedom of thought, conscience, and religion shall shall be respected. I mean, whenever it becomes applicable by all persons, bodies, institutions, and authorities. So that means the duty of the parent to provide guidance and direction to the child to ensure that this child enjoys the right to freedom of thought, the right to freedom of conscience, and the right to freedom of religion. We want to choose religion. That this right, the duty of the parent to support this child must be respected by all persons, bodies, institutions, and authorities. It is only when these parents fail to do the needful, that's when the authorities or the institutions or the bodies, or maybe the parents or the bodies are pushing the child in a wrong direction, then these bodies or persons or institutions can now take step to address that. And so subsection 4 also say that in case when the custody of the child is being considered, or when guardianship or adoption of a child is being considered, the right of the child to be brought up and to practice his religion shall be paramount consideration. So they need to also discuss. It means that when they are talking about fostering or custody of the child or guardianship or adoption, that the right of the child to practice his religion must be discussed because it's a major factor. So because the child right is that the child has the right to choose his or her religion, and so that means that when the child has when the child is about to be taken into somewhere to be staying, the child must be. I mean, this right to freedom or to choose religion, to conscience, and to freedom of thought must be considered. Does it align with the people the child is going to be staying with? Are they practicing the same religion? Are those guidance going to allow the child to practice the same religion? Or, all those things has to be considered in this. And the section 8 of the Child Right Act says that a child has the right to private and family life. Subsection 1 of Section 8 says every child is entitled to his privacy, family life, home, correspondence, telephone conversation, and telegraphic communication except as provided in subsection 3 of this section. So let's go further. It's saying that the child has his right to his family life, he has the right to his privacy. He has the right to live in a home. He has the right to discuss, to use a phone, you know. But there are some exceptions. Let's look. We'll see that in subsection 3. I mean, there are some guiding terms for this. That is, subsection 2 says that no child shall be subjected to any interference with his right in subsection 1 of this section, except as provided in subsection 3. So we're still looking at what is even there in this subsection 3. Now we are now at subsection 3, and it says that nothing in the provision of subsections 1 and subsection 2 of this section shall affect the right of parents and, where applicable, legal guidance to exercise reasonable supervision and control over the conduct of their child and words. So it's saying that nothing, nothing in this section shall contradict or shall affect the right or the duties of parents to exercise the reasonable supervision, even though the child has the right to privacy. Yes, the parent should also provide allowed under this law, under this act, to provide reasonable supervision and control over the child. So it's not as if the child has the right to watch TV, child has the right to use telephone, and then the parents cannot monitor. The parents have a duty, they have a right, they have a responsibility to monitor what the child is watching on TV, what the child is using the telephone for, and the rest of that. So section 9 rather, says right to freedom of movement. So subsection 1 of section 9 says every child is entitled to freedom of movement subject to parental control which is not harmful to the child. So it means that subsection 1 is saying that every child should be allowed to move from one place to another at least, and this should be under the control of the parents, and that movement should not be a type that is harmful to the child. Let's look at what subsection 2 has to say. Subsection 2 is saying that nothing in subsection 1 of this section shall affect the right of parents and, where applicable, legal guardian or other appropriate authority to exercise control over the movement of the child in the interest of the education, safety, and welfare of the child. So, this is saying that nothing in that, even though we said that the child is entitled to the freedom of movement in subsection 1, which is and this is subject to parental control. It's saying that nothing shall affect the right of a parent or even the legal guardian to exercise control over the movement of the child in the interest of the education, safety, and welfare of the child. So this is saying that even though the child has the right to move from one place, the child has the right to to move from Lagos to Anambra to go and be living there. But it's saying that the society is saying that these parents, that this section or the subsection 1, nothing in it shall affect the right of the parent to exercise control over the movement of that child, especially when it has to do with the education of that child, the safety and the welfare of that child. So the parent may decide that I don't want my child to go to Anambra because of because the child education will be distorted or will be affected. I don't want my child to go to because of the safety of my child and the rest of that. So section 10 of the Child Right Act says right to freedom from discrimination. Right to freedom from discrimination. And that alone says that subsection 1 of the section 10 says a child shall not be subjected to any form of discrimination merely by reason of his belonging to a particular community or ethnic group or by reason of his place of origin, sex, religion, or political opinion. So it means that a child should not have the right to freedom from discriminated against. No child should be from discrimination. No child should be discriminated against. And this is saying that the subsection 1 is not saying that a child shall not be subject of any form of discrimination merely by reason of his belonging to a particular community or ethnic group. That is, mainly by being a Beninese or mainly by being by being from a rural community or from living in a shanties or living in a shanty or because of his sex, or maybe he's a female or male, or because the place of origin where he's come from, maybe the religions, whether he's an aborigine or he's a Muslim or he's a Christian or he's a Judaized or he's practicing another religion, that is not, it does not matter. That a child shall not be subjected to any kind of discrimination as a result of this. So it does not matter whether the child believes that PDP should be in power or APC should be in power or any other party should be in power, or whether irrespective of his parent affiliation of party, a child should not be subjected to any kind of discrimination. And the subsection 2 of this section says that no child shall be subjected to any disability or deprivation merely by reason of the circumstances of his birth. So the child shall not be denied. Subsection 2 is saying that the child shall not be denied anything at all, or should not be made to be become disabled. I mean, not having ability to have access to certain things because of the circumstances of it. Maybe he was born prematurely or he was born. That no child should be discriminated against, and that's what that section is saying. And so that's where we're going to stop for this week on Child Rights Arts Education Series with Olakunle Son. On the next series, which is series 3, we'll continue from where we stop. That is from section 11. Thank you for joining me. I hope you enjoy and share to other people so that they can also learn about the right of the child. God bless.